This program is brought to you by the Brennan School of Business at Dominican University, along with Professor Zack. I hope you enjoy.
So, only like one of your subscribers are friends, or somebody of your friends see that, unless you got a public or something.
Yeah, you can also like, so you can send something like to your friend personally, but you can also put in your story for all your friends to see.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, people just want to send a short video. I don't have it. But besides, Facebook Live, right, and Instagram, we take a short video, like, so I don't really get Snapchat. Besides the filters and people, the girls with the flowers on. Like, what do you guys think? What's the main thing about it? I mean, what's so intrusive?
I guess like
other than
in your story, you like show people you're having a good time, like convince yourself and other people that you're having a good time. And then like, I guess that's like the main thing, like the story. And then otherwise,
But
it's gone in 24 hours. It's gone in 24 hours.
Oh,
hypothetically.
Yeah, I feel like, when you post something on Instagram or Facebook, you kind of like, really more concerned about it, so you just have to make it look good or something. Or like on Snapchat, you don't really care.
like Facebook Live.
Yeah, I would put a picture of my face when I just wake up saying good morning or something.
Live video, we're doing live video. You guys, have people moved away from Facebook who have Snapchat? Like, oh, Facebook is old, I don't do Facebook or What I'm saying is, do you think Snapchat is taking up even more of your life than Facebook and Instagram?
Yes.
Okay, so you're becoming more unproductive. And there's always something else. Right? So after Snapchat, there's going to be something else. And then if everybody does it, everybody does it.
And Snapchat got a really good feature. Sometimes it shows you a story in different part of the world. So they show you once in Dubai, in Cuba, everywhere. So it's really cool.
Yeah. It makes sense to me because it's video platform. Right? So we're moving to kind of like the old movie Jim Carrey called The Truman Show, right? Where he just really recorded his whole entire life so you can see everything going down. So I think we're kind of moving towards that because Facebook started with messaging, right? And then implemented pictures. And then Instagram was all about pictures. Now we're moving towards video. And at some point it's going to be something that probably is like recording literally half to our whole.
Actually, Instagram started doing stories too, just like Snapchat.
Stories. So everybody wants to tell that whole entire story. I don't know, maybe I just Snapchat for the filters. My wife uses them and she's just like, oh, these ridiculous things coming out of her mouth. And all right, who wants to read the short sentence of our question? All right. Discuss how the internet and culture interact. Which most affects each other and how? Give some examples. So what did you guys come up with? How does culture and the internet interact?
So we said that there's now easier access to culture, and cultures have become more inclusive. So before, I felt like culture, there are boundaries that people can get through, and so now people are learning more about different cultures and can be a part of them. The internet.
So do you feel that we're adopting new cultures because of the internet? Like people are starting to dress like other cultures, whereas before they did not, and they started to talk like other culture, eat food from other cultures, what they did.
And so we also said that the internet has created new cultures based on different interests, and people are just taking different aspects of different cultures and creating new ones.
So the internet's created subcultures.
And then we couldn't agree on the second part of it, which most affects each other. So we said that the internet affects the culture by allowing other cultures to interfere and change them. So
what I thought about was like a lot of Chinese are moving to Africa, and that's because they have this tool of the internet where they could see the future value of like, the soil in Africa or whatever, and so they have interest like move there and they move their businesses and their families and they're affecting the African culture overall. So that was like one of the examples that I thought about.
Do you think Africans are adopting Chinese culture, or maybe?
Well, of course, now that two cultures are being mixed, it's going to be a new culture, like Afro-Chinese culture, something like that. But they wouldn't have moved there if it wasn't out there, it was the internet, and we would have figured out that they would get out.
Yeah, I mean, well, South Africa is kind of different. I've had South Africa and like stuff that I think really affects. But South Africa is English speaking and use more democratic stuff. So it's a little bit different than the rest of sub-Saharan culture. Outside of like the north, down in Muslim, Tunisia, Libya, Egypt. Those are still a little bit more harder to change. What you guys come up with?
We said that internet could, like you said, more access to culture, make connections with, other people. It educates us about other cultures and ideas. But we said, internationally, like we're dependent in the US on it and stuff like that. But like, China has like censorship as well as like North Korea, who don't have access to the outside world, so it's not that internet's not that.
Okay.
important.
So for connections, is it more just social connections, or is it more like, hey, now there's opportunity to do business with other people?
Right, because I know in some companies, like, the webcam, they do meetings, they have to meet in China or whatever, the webcam, like, my mom has an employee in Texas and she'll webcam her,
For like meetings?
for meetings, yeah, like in the offices and stuff like that.
Yeah. So it saves a lot of money as well, too.
Right.
Okay.
And then it also like complicated views, there's a lot of like lies on the internet and stuff like that, talking about other cultures and views and stuff like that.
So
Like,
it's like misinformation, right?
Yeah.
So we go and we read something on Facebook, and then everybody else, all of our friends, are reading the same exact story. Like how do we know it's true? Right? So unless it's CNN or MSNBC or International Business Times, then you look at the bottom, there's some link to some website no one's ever heard of, and somebody's sharing it, and then everybody starts commenting and talking about it, and you find out later it wasn't even true in the first place. You're like, this is a negative impact just because of the internet and social media. Thank you. Okay. What else you got there? But just complicated. So you said the internet. So which one do you think is more impactful for you guys? Is it the internet or is it culture? Which one affects each other more? The internet affects culture more. Maybe even so here in the United States, right? Because now we talk about so many different social problems, and now it's just all becoming convoluted, too complex, and no one ever really knows what they believe in. Right?
I was gonna say, like what we had said about censorship, so like the internet affects the culture in that way that they're using the internet to keep people oppressed. Like China, like people don't search for certain things.
Yeah.
So they're giving them a sense of freedom, but deep down,
They're giving them the internet that they want.
yeah.
So in essence, they can control the population like that, right?
Yeah.
They can probably control the business aspects as well, too.
Yeah, I think for us it gave us everything we want, so like when there's a social issue, 2 weeks later people forget about it, and they're really adamant and strong for it, like when it's up and running, like, oh yeah, they players taking a knee at the game or doing the national anthem, but 2 weeks later we'll be worried about something else, so
Yeah.
we can't really focus on these issues.
What did you guys come up with?
You said that the internet makes it easier to learn and interact with different cultures. Basically, communication too. People can talk to people from across the world, like clicking a few buttons. So, kind of brings people together in that aspect a little bit as far as communication. As far as learning, you can just Google something about a culture and learn about it instantly instead of having to go there and experience it. How do they affect each other? They both kind of affect each other a little bit. The internet cultures together. People are all seeing the same global news, all the same videos and stuff on YouTube and whatnot. And that way it kind of changes the way that cultures think or feel about certain things. You know, they're being exposed to stuff on the internet that might have been written by people in completely different countries or from different cultures.
Do you think that, looking at the US, do you think that it's made things better? Or is it like pretty much things are still the same and just seem better?
Yeah, no, I don't think things have been better. I just think that,
Okay, we have the internet, right? So we're able to connect, everybody connect, get a cell phone, to look up anything. It's the world at your fingertips, right? But then you look at, just say, our politics here in the United States, you're like, well, how divided are we still, right? Is it really helping culture? Like, people adapting, like, oh wow, you know, we can all see how everybody dressed, how everybody talks, how they live, it's so cool, and we eat food, but is it actually creating any sort of change?
I think it's pushing us a little bit more apart because people grow up with a certain culture and then you realize, oh, I like this culture a little better, so I'm going to step away from this one and I'm going to become another one. And then everyone starts voicing out their own opinions, so then everyone just kind of keeps getting further and further away from being like one culture itself.
Yeah. But maybe people don't even have a true definition of culture. Maybe culture to them is race. Maybe culture is like a language. Maybe culture is where you live. Because we all kind of bundle that up together. You know, we talk about race, ethnicity, and culture are all the same thing. So we don't even talk culture. We just talk race, ethnicity. So people don't have a true definition of the separation between those two things. What else you got, Jeff?
and then yeah, the culture can also affect the internet. People from different cultures, they all contribute to what goes on the internet. You know, as far as videos or just content posted on the internet, it's all being published from different places, and everyone kind of contributes to it.
Yeah, and to me that's a big one because we're just getting so many different perspectives, you know, just we all think different because of where we come from and we're adaptive. So if there's a new idea, there's 1,000 different ways to implement it, you know, because of where you're from.
You're talking about how the internet can allow culture people more interconnected through social media, because things go viral, makes them travel quickly, so if you want to adapt something from a trend really quickly. The internet can reflect culture because of the way that we use media.
Let me stop you real quick. Trends. More cultural trends or more just kind of internet, social, internet?
Some of them I think get adopted, but just around. They go from being a trend to being a part of it. They have a lot of times it is just kind of like a crowd.
Kind of like, Snapchat and trainers are here to stay. This is just a colorful thing because everybody does it. It's a long term on Facebook. Sorry guys, just wait on the next. Okay, what else?
I think it's the internet can reflect culture through media and advertising to that, because a lot of marketing people will study cases of countries that come from culture and then use that to in their marketing image. But then it also like
So it helps you reach new target market.
Yeah.
In essence, because before you didn't have the information, you know, very limited because you didn't really interact with other cultures as a manager, as a company, or whatever. So now you're able to concisely see how you move about, how you use that information for marketing research.
And if you do research on internet searches of people from different countries, I think it kind of reflects what they're moving towards as well. If you look up what we look up most in the US versus what they look up in Germany, it's probably not the exact same thing. And it has to reflect on our culture. It allows us to learn more about each other across the world, and then affects on each other. We can go both ways. Like here in the US, we talk about how internet has kind of become part of our culture. Like us growing up as millennials and stuff, like it's so interconnected to everything we do that we depend on it. And kind of changing the way we see things. So over in like China or North Korea, like they're really limited. Their culture is a little bit.
But I was saying, I actually talked to someone from Beijing classes, and he said that they, like everyone in China, like has this, it's called downloading, that's how they like access the internet, so that way like it's filtered. So he was talking about that, it's like really interesting, he's like showing it to me. So I thought that was really.
Yeah, so is a restrained or restricted internet better than open internet, which we have here in the US? Overall, for say for progress, for growth as a country overall? Or even economically? China's restricted use of the internet versus our everything goes.
I feel like maybe our social media is kind of, their internet is kind of restricted by government as well, with like only not certain points of views in certain aspects of certain actions of the world. I feel like our media portrays it in ways that may be beneficial to the United States, may be beneficial to us. In that sense, I don't know if that makes sense. But I'm very picky about media portraying stuff like that, so.
I mean, if you think, okay, if China's using restricted internet or restricted Google, restricted whatever it is, and how far they've come in the last 20 years versus maybe where we are, maybe that's a better number. Because maybe Snapchat is actually useless, right? Maybe certain parts of the internet is like, okay, it's there, and then what's going to happen is human behavior is going to cause people to become so less productive because of this stuff. So they're like, hey, well, maybe we want to restrict it to things that are important for culture, so we're going to make advances as a society. When I was in South Africa, like the 5 big things I noticed in terms of internet use was WhatsApp. Allows you to make phone calls, right? Without any sort of fees. Uber, I was using Uber a lot in South Africa, and it was like, it was crazy. I would go for like a 35 minute ride and it'd be like $1. Facebook, of course, everybody shares everything. GoFundMe. You see a lot of independent vendors, or you see very impoverished people using GoFundMe to kind of campaign to help their needs, immediate needs and stuff like that. And PayPal, which a lot of times is used for scams too. So one of Hofstede's cultural dimensions is indulgent societies and restrained societies, kind of what we're talking about. Maybe the United States is a very indulgent society. Everything goes. You see everything, nothing censored. You go on live and you can see beheaded videos and stuff like that. Other places are restricted, that. So I'm looking like for risk for operations to be like, all right, we want to start a new company here, we're going to introduce a new product and a service in this particular society. What is our risk here because of these indulgent capacities or restrained capacities? So in terms of happiness, what do you think people look at? Is there a higher percentage of happy people in an indulgent society, or a higher percentage of happiness in a restrained society? And happiness is a relative thing, but maybe people are able to quantify it a little bit. People happier in an indulgent society or more happier in a restrained society?
I think it all just depends on like the people. Some people don't want to see, bad things happen or like the dark side of things. So if you're in a restrained society in China, and they don't want you to figure out about some mass genocide. In that sense, it's like, maybe ignorance is bliss. The less you know, the happier you are. But then there's other people that.
So in a restrained society, ignorance is bliss, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But then there's still people out there that, you know, they want to know what happened regardless of how bad it is or how ugly it may be. You know, they're just more intellectually curious, I guess.
And then adult society. So in certain countries, people, let's say certain countries, people do that. I don't care. I don't want to, right? Here, and because since we have an adult society, like, we want to know everything. Absolutely everything. Everything that's like useless or negative or anything. Information to us is very important.
I went yesterday to the ELS Center. It's an English school here at the campus, and as part of the class, we had to partner up with like an international student and just, get to know them, this kind of stuff. So my part was Korean, and as I was talking to him, he was like, in Korea, we just like do whatever it takes to get out of trouble, even if we don't like it. It just, makes us happy to not be in trouble, so we like to do rules. So I feel like, even just playing, society, we would be happy.
So Korea, they just don't want to be in trouble. Or they just find ways to get out of being in trouble.
Yeah, they just obey whatever they say.
Alright, so let's say Koreans don't obey.
Is it fear of being in trouble?
Yeah.
Fear from the government? Or just
Yeah,
fear
they
from
just
the
like,
society as a whole?
they fear the punishment or whatever, they have strict policy to do this and that, so like, they just follow whatever the law says, even if they don't like it, because they feel safe and, they just feel in a good situation when they just, do that.
Okay. Actually, it is a privilege.
Were the laws more severe when you're out here? Were the laws more punishable, were they more severe?
It's not like that, it's just because they are a very collective society, so they're like, they think like, we think about the country as a whole, our society, but in America they're like, it's I, it's me, it's not them, you know what I'm saying?
So does anybody feel that they exist in a culture, in their life, where they can't fully express themselves as a person? They're restricted. Their wants. Things they want versus maybe the impact of your family, the impact of your community, the impact of your peers. Does anyone feel like their culture has this restrictions to where they're like, you can't really do this because of this, Yeah,
I have the same thing in the Middle East too, actually. I mean, like, even if I feel, a certain way, I will not be able to just, stand up and say, the government is doing this wrong. I will not be able to do that. Like, even if I feel so, what I'm saying?
So in indulgent societies, people are more happy for the most part. That's just saying.
I mean, it allows you to restrict yourself if you want to. I think you can be restricted in an adult society by thinking but you don't want to know about it, you don't know about it.
Hey guys, you're coming. This is our Northwestern Mutual group. This is Richard, this is Nicole, this is my class. Guys. We'll probably get off here. We'll pick up with indulgent in restraint societies next Thursday. I'll let Richard and Nicole. How you guys doing your presentation?
So my name is Rich. I know a lot of you guys can good to see you guys, my athletes.
You know some of these? You went to school with them?
Yeah,
you were still in school
this
with
year,
them?
last year, right? Yeah, so it's after that one, come a long way.
Richard went to Lane Tech too.
Any Lane people? Yeah, you went to Lane, right? I was familiar. I think I've seen you before.
That's what we call it, Lane Tech.
People who didn't get into that. But really, we're here today because we do a lot of work on campus with our internship. We're really involved in just trying to help diminish they can get on the map, right? Working in the world now, I see a lot of schools just having a big name like a U of I or IU, ISU, Michigan. That kind of gets people into the doors easier than it would like the Dominican grad. Not because they're better than us, it's just that no one knows where the forest is really. It's like a small little place on the map, right? So what we're finding now is something we just want to talk more about is behavioral-based interviews. Now what that basically is nowadays is employers are using methods, different tests that they're going to put you through to just gauge what or how you react to certain situations, to use that to determine whether or not you're a good fit for their role. We're going to kind of help educate you guys on some ways to deal with that. We can also talk about our internship, different opportunities we have. I know Marco's participating in, right? And we'll go from there, right? If you guys have any questions, you can have an answer.
Yeah. So before we get started, just want to introduce ourselves really quickly. So you guys know Natalie, she's in your class, and she was generous enough to set this up for us. So she's currently in our marketing internship, so that means she's really helping us get connected to students on campus and set up fun events like this, or presentations like this, fun events as well that I'll talk about a little bit later. And then Richie, I don't know if you mentioned, but he's currently a financial rep with us. And then I work as our campus recruiter, so I work on campus a lot, meeting a lot of students, recognize a lot of faces, and just connecting with professors and coaches. And really our mission is to help the students at Dominican grow both personally and professionally. And so this is one way that we do that, is by coming in and, like Richie said, educating you on different ways that you can be prepared for internships and careers so that you're better off once you're actually graduated and going into the real world. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to talk about interviews. We're going to talk a little bit about Richie's experience and Natalie's experience as well. I'll have her pass this out now. This is about our internship opportunity that we are currently recruiting for 2017. So we actually have 5 Dominican students join us per year. Typically it's about 3 seniors and 2 juniors. And we'll talk more about the opportunity towards the end of the presentation, but just so you can kind of have a flyer. If you do want to take notes about interviewing on the back of it, that'll be helpful. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. So thinking about interviews, first question I want to ask you guys is, raise your hand if you're a junior. Okay, a couple juniors, and then raise your hand if you're a senior. Awesome. So interviewing is huge, really critical, really important at this time in your life, especially as you're interviewing for internships, different jobs that you've had. And so what we're going to talk about today is behavioral-based interviews, which is really a method that we use within Northwestern Mutual whenever I have interviews with students, whenever Richie's interviewing students, that this is a method that we use that we find to be very helpful in us knowing the candidate as best as we can. So the main focus of this is talking about past performance and behaviors. So I'm sure you guys have heard that a lot of times companies or businesses, they're going to want to find out, do you have a past history of success? Because if you don't, then you probably won't be successful moving forward. Maybe. And so we do that by asking the right questions, and this is going to help you know how to answer questions like this when you're thinking about your past history of success. So it really showcases your competencies through specific examples from your experience. So we'll talk about relating that back to a story and using an example when you're in an interview. That's going to go a long way with the person who's interviewing you. So the interviewer doesn't necessarily want to know how you're going to be really awesome moving forward. They want to know, what have you done that's already really, really great. So it's all about your past performance being a guiding light for your future performance. And Richie is going to talk about why our employers are using this method.
Yeah, so for the most part, ever been at the situation, like I know for you athletes and coaches, kind of want you to be adaptable, right, to a situation. I played baseball here, I was an athlete as well. And the thing that I always tie it back to is, if a pitcher is beating you with an off-speed pitch, it's probably going to keep doing that, right? So if I want success against him, I'm going to have to adapt to that. So these employers, they want to see, how you act under pressure, with what situations are presented, what are you doing? They want to know that they have a candidate who's coachable, so they can say, hey, just do this next time, and you actually apply that to your process, so that causes less disruption with your workflow, helps you move up forward. They also want to know, can this person make adaptations? Are they adaptable? If you present them with a task or a challenge, how do they respond to that, right? Are they hesitant? Do they welcome it? Employers want people who are kind of proactive in that area, and they're kind of welcoming that, right? And they want to know what kind of candidate they have up front. Is this someone who's just really has like a cloud of smoke, or is this someone who's really being genuine to who they are? And that really is a good point in interviewing. Okay. So how to prepare. So we'll talk to you about how do you analyze the situation when you're in an interview, what are they really asking you, and kind of take like a 3-step process called problem, action, and results. Really understanding, hey, if you have a problem, what action did we take, and what kind of result did we have? Most employers want to see it's a positive result, okay? So just understanding that and having that now, they want to know, hey, in what situations were you faced with this, what did you do about it, and then what was the outcome?
So before we get into PAR, we're going to talk about how do you prepare for an interview. So kind of some very basic ideas. Does anybody have any ideas? How would you guys prepare for an interview? If you had an interview set up for next week, what is one thing that you would do? Oh, let's go backwards. What is one thing that you guys would do? What's important? Just shout it out.
Yeah, I was just going to say research the company so you know.
Exactly. Yeah, research. So we have Google, we got the internet, get online, just search them and find out everything you possibly can. You would be surprised. Some people do walk into interviews with me and they don't know what we do. Sometimes they don't know the name of our company. They're not really sure what they're doing there. It's not impressive. And it's really, that's the first impression you're leaving on the person that you had just met. So definitely get online and just do some research. So research the company the first time, get an actual job description. So if you're not certain what you're interviewing for, you can have no idea what you want to be talking about, what you want to highlight in terms of your skills. So get a job description, whether you can find it online. If it's not online, ask the person that you're in contact with the company if you can actually get that job description so that you know what to really talk about in terms of your past success. And then what skills are necessary to perform this type of role. So every role is different. It's not going to, when you have your description on the top of your resume, some people say a job that highlights my analytical skills or my communication skills. So everything is different. Some jobs are very analytical and working with spreadsheets and numbers and data. Some jobs are very communication based and working with relations. So it's important to know what the role actually is so you know what parts of yourself you want to really talk about.
Okay. So when it comes to problem, action, results, right? What challenge did you have you faced with? So I'll give you 2 examples, good and bad. Have any of you guys ever seen the movie In Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith? It's a good movie, right? I saw it again yesterday, so I'm looking this up. Will Smith, he sold this machine to doctors. It was a hard job because they weren't really interested. It was double the price for something that really made a difference. So as a part of interviewing for internship, and they're asking these questions and they're not really impressed, and they said, hey, can I just say something? I'm the type of person that if I don't know the answer to it, I'll find out, right? And but I promise I'll find out what the answer is. So it's kind of just being upfront, right? They want to see transparency when they're interviewing. They want to know, hey, in what situation, how did you react to this, right? So an example of that, I know you guys do a lot of group projects. I was never a good fan of group projects. I didn't want to know people. But let's say someone's sick and they can't present, right? All of a sudden you have to go. The problem is that person can't join the presentation. Now you have to kind of pick up their slack, relearn their material, and still give a great presentation for your grade, right? That's what's Jeopardy. So the action that you take is you went out of your way, even though it's inconvenient, but you learned their material and you had to apply that to your presentation, and the results hopefully got a good grade from that, right? So that shows what? It shows initiative, shows responsibility, shows dedication, shows leadership. Those are good things. Now, I don't know if you guys follow the news that well. You guys hear about Wells Fargo? Right? Anybody know what happened? I know you did. Right? They had a big no-no to them. Okay, so what they're doing is they're opening up, I think, 2 million accounts without their customers' knowledge. Okay, it's called cross-selling. That's basically it's a big no-no. Okay, it's a big regulation. So they're fining like $185 million for that. But I don't know if you guys seen that a congresswoman was asking the CEO, these yes/no questions, and the guys kind of beat around the bush. But she's saying, hey, you had a problem with your lower level leadership where they were doing this. This is right under your nose. What did you do about it? he didn't do anything. His action was that he neglected to, put the proper penalties, remove the leadership, replace him, and the result is now it's public news. That's a bad thing for Wells Fargo. Their share price is probably going to go down. So it's a bad thing. A lot of people aren't happy. So that's a negative, right? You always want to be able to show positive outcomes, and you also want to quantify that too. You want to have more than one example, because if you have more than one example about your results, that shows credibility. It shows that you've done this before, you've been faced with these problems before, and you always apply good outcomes and approaches to it.
So when you're preparing, what's really going to help you feel confident and feel good about all of that is practice. And you can do this in a couple different ways. You can actually get in front of somebody, so maybe a professor of yours or a mentor of yours, and just do a mock interview. Have them ask you questions, practice answering them, but you want to be prepared and ready for those questions that come your way. I would say also practice in front of a mirror. Like, get in front of a mirror and talk to yourself if you have to. Answer questions like, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, and pay attention to where you're looking, what does your facial expression look like, because you certainly want what's coming out of your mouth to match your body language or what you're saying so that it's making sense. And yeah, definitely getting feedback from somebody when you're doing a mock interview, making sure you have eye contact. People tend to look around as they're talking or as they're thinking, but you want to make sure in an interview you have eye contact, right? That's a small thing, but it's very important. It goes a long way. So when you have mock interviews with somebody, they're going to be able to give you that feedback that maybe you didn't realize about yourself. And also just learning to answer these questions. You start to memorize what you want to say, and you get better at it, so that when you're answering in the interview and you're under that pressure, you're ready to go because you've practiced it a couple of times. So that's just a couple of tips on how to actually prepare. And then we want to practice you guys a little bit. So we want some energy. We're going to find some students who are willing to practice with Richie and think about how to answer some of these questions up here. I'll give you guys a couple minutes to think about it. But this is going to help you guys tremendously.
Who are my beer drinkers? I know you guys are all beer. One, professor. Anybody? No? Koozies or mints? No, nobody else smells okay.
No, mints are actually really good. So.
All right, so who wants to volunteer first? I won't go hard on you, I promise. Anybody? Thank you for your minute. All right, so tell me about a time you had a challenge you faced, and you had a small window to fix it. What did you take, right? Apply PAR to it. Problem, action, result.
So repeat your question one more time.
So describe to me a time you're faced with a challenge, you had a small window to fix it. What was your approach and what action did you take?
There's this one time at work where we were cleaning out like a air conditioning fan type thing, and it had to be on by the end of the night. But I was me and my coworker, we were both trying to leave. We had to go home within like 20 minutes as we were done with our shift. Mm-hmm. If we hadn't gotten this air conditioning machine back on, then like all the products would have, obviously been not refrigerated overnight, so we couldn't leave it like that. At the same time, we didn't want to take overtime or anything, so we had to get things done real quick. So the action that we took is we chose to go call like the emergency person to come fix it. We called him quick enough to the point where he was still working because he was on call until 9. Just a kind of little example, but we called him real quick, came over, fixed it, everything was fine. We stayed a little late, so we had to compromise a little bit and take a little overtime, but at the same time, we saved the company a lot of money by fixing the refrigeration at the end of the night.
Good. Give him a hand.
Oh, good. That was good.
Yeah.
Professor Ross, what were some key things you noticed that he did in his example?
It looks like that they did not panic, and so they just thought logically, rationally about how to solve the issue, called the people that they needed to get in connection with, and that was related to a positive outcome.
Yeah.
I think one of the key things is not panicking.
Mm-hmm. I also like that you mentioned a high pressure situation, like that's kind of a big deal. If the breaker goes off, you're gonna have big problems. And you talked about how you are willing to sacrifice and go overtime, so you put in that extra effort. So that's gonna speak a lot to an employer to look for that sort of.
Right, so you're coachable, adaptable, you ask for help, you always want to know that you ask for help. That's good. One more person. Different question. Anybody else want a free koozie? Alright, you want a free koozie? Alright, so you'll hear this often, right? Answer this one genuinely, transparent, okay? What are one of your weaknesses? What would you say is the weakness of yours?
I think weakness is mine is wanting to multitask and juggling multiple tasks at once. And the best thing I can do for myself is just try to focus on one and know the other one has to be done, but just focus on one and the other one extremely well. And then move on to the next one instead of juggling two at the same time. If it's possible, I'll juggle both, but if it's not, if it's time constraint, one has to be done before the other, then worry about one. Because that would do it at the same time, then obviously that's what I like that. I think that's my reason, is just knowing the multitask at all.
Good. Give him that answer. So one really important thing with the strength and weaknesses question, you almost always will get that question. What you really want to do is, generally talk about a weakness of yours, but also make it look like a strength, right? So what he was saying was like, I have a tendency where I try to take too many things on at once. Sometimes it actually keeps me from doing my job, but I'm willing to go the extra effort to make sure things get done. So one thing I can work on is just being more proactive and solving one issue at a time. But if need be, I do tend to juggle different things, right? So kind of took it as a weakness, but also made it as a strength, which is something we're going to do.
Yeah, and I would even take that a step further in your response, because that was really good. You took the weakness and turned it into a strength, but I would even talk about what detailed steps are you taking in order to accomplish that. So if you've got a lot of tasks going on, what are you going to do to be able to accomplish it? And I would say, I would look at all my tasks, I would prioritize what's most important and create a list. That's physically what you have to do to not be overwhelmed. So it's great to give more details on that as well. I would say a little bit further into it. All right, so thank you for volunteering. What questions do you guys have? What did you learn? Anything. I mean, we are here for you guys on Coastal Mutual works on campus to help students prepare them for careers, internships. What questions do you guys have for us that we can help you with? Yeah.
How do you answer a question like, what is the ideal salary for you?
How would you ask that question?
How would you answer it?
Okay. If you are being asked that in an interview,
Yeah.
what's your ideal salary? I would do some research ahead of time to kind of find out typically what that position offers in terms of salary, so that you're not totally out of the ballpark. So I would do some homework on that. And if they are asking you that and willing to ask you that, sometimes they'll just have you write it down. You can write down what you think is best for you, but I would definitely just do your homework on it.
Right.
And find out what is realistic.
So yeah, that's a good question too.
Good question.
It's important to be confident in that situation and say, well, hey, with my skill set, I think I'd be a great candidate for this position. I think I can add this, and that. Always give an in-between between your floor, the least amount you actually do the job for, and then what you want, right? You want to have that in-between so you kind of fall there, and that gives them that wiggle room.
Yeah, it's really hard sometimes to find this type of information online, and I don't want to just sort of price them it's too high, and then
right. It's on the Glassdoor. You can actually Glassdoor a lot of companies.
Yeah.
Like PwC Glassdoor, 67,000 whatever. It just depends on whatever it is.
Yeah, and you can always give your response and then say negotiable like that, but it's negotiable, so that you're still leaving some room so they know that they can work with you on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good question.
Where are you guys interviewing right now? Anybody? No.
Who's had an internship?
Which company are you working
It's a company downtown, right located around pretty much working for different clients and create long-term plans.
How do you prepare for that?
I feel like for me everything, like everything from that, I live with my mom, my dad, and sister, but
Good. Yeah, it's all about preparation. And when I'm with my clients, when I meet new people, I better know something about them, right, and what they do. Like I work with a lot of engineers or people in finance. If they don't see anything that I know about them, then there's no credibility, right? So I need to be able to talk their language and understand what it is. That helps me, like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about.
All right, so just kind of transitioning over. So before we, I'm going to have them kind of talk about their personal experiences in our interview process and the internships that you completed and that you're currently in. And so actually what I want to do is pass in a sign-in sheet, and you do not all have to sign in. I would say if you're interested in being contacted by us to learn more about our internship opportunity, go ahead and write your name and phone number on here so that we can let you know more about it. And I'm going to have Richard talk about that internship. This is the financial representative internship that some of you may be familiar with, that we're currently looking for students for 2017. So he's going to talk about his experience, and he was back in the internship 2 years ago.
Yeah, I was in your seat not too long ago, 3 years ago. I interviewed for this position. What do I do, right? I basically do a balance between insurance and investment work. So some people who need more so risk-based planning, kind of help them in that area, and then there's some people who just need more wealth management planning them, right? So that's anywhere from retirement, college education planning, saving for a home, saving for a wedding, whatever your goals are you're trying to accomplish. So we do a lot of things like, I don't know if you guys know, like Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley, you know, all these banks like Wells Fargo has a financial advisory arm. But we do more so comprehensive planning, and it's more so like, are we taking advantage of understanding what type of risks are available to us, or not available to us, but what risks pose a threat to your financial security overall? You know, what are some actions based on what goals you have, how to save? So I did that 3 years ago. I'm full time now, and it's been a good experience. Obviously, I do this full time now, but I would say I've done this with so many people, and I've seen them move on to other careers. And what it does, it just builds. It builds you up in a way where you're prepared to work anywhere, right? So I've done internships with people who now work at, you know, maybe PwC, or they work at Morgan Stanley, at different wealth management firms. They work at CDW, LinkedIn, and it gives them. It's built them in a way with one, their communication skills, their timeliness, their organization. This internship really gives you a lot of tools that you can make applicable in anything that you do. Okay? So that speaks a lot, even if you may be like, hey, you know, I'm not a business major, I'm not a finance major, I'm not good with numbers. That's not really what this is about. It's just more so, hey, are you good with people? And are you always looking, do you like challenges? Do you like to accept challenges and really make the most of it? If you can do that and make it a great experience, you really set yourself up. And along the way too, you meet other people. So you may meet someone who's actually in that field that you're looking to get into, who can, you know, open that door for you. So there's a lot of opportunities there.
And then Natalie, can you talk about your marketing internship and kind of your experience with getting on board with us, and then even your experience in how you've seen the current financial reps you have right now in the office grow and your experience with them?
So I would say it's a funny story because I actually interviewed for the position that I'm now marketing for. So I went through the interview process. I think that was very helpful for me just because I got to learn, like, what do you wear, like, how do you present yourself, what questions they're gonna ask. Even though, like, I've been to the interview, but like going into the office, it's just like, what do I do now? So I went in and I got to the second level of the interview, and then we realized it wasn't for me. But then a year later, Nicole reached out to me, and she's like, well, your personality fits a little bit better with this position that I have now. And so far I love it. We have 2 college interns in the office right now, we're both from Concordia. I've met them briefly, and it's incredible to like see what they're doing. Like, they walk into the office and they're just like Richie, and they're just like everyone else there. And it kind of makes you feel like a grown up, which is kind of always my thing, that we like to think that we're still young, and then once you graduate college, like, you're officially a grown up, you should be thinking about like, what am I supposed to do now? And like, it seems like that's what they're doing. Like, they're trying to find a career path. So whether or not they continue on with it, it's up to them. But they're kind of making the initiative to start looking.
Yeah. And I love those guys. Those are my boys to see. So you guys might need some Dominican people too, man. But yeah, it's a good experience. I help lead the internship program, and so I have a heart for this school. Ultimately, I want to be like Professor Ross, one day teaching a class here. I have a lot of ties. I stop by with, I don't know if you guys know Zack, and just grab coffee with him every now and then.
I had him before for accounting or finance, one of them.
Oh yeah, you taught him?
Yeah, he taught me. He was,
wow.
he was pretty hard.
Yeah, I taught him that too. I was like, how many people are feeling your class already? It's the first day. I'm joking. But yeah, you know, if you guys ever need help, even if you don't do this internship, that's okay, right? Being alone with Dominican, if you guys have like an area that you want to get into, you're like, hey, you know, Rich, I really want to work at one of the big fours, EY, KPMG, PwC, Deloitte, you know, who do you know there? I know tons of people, there's a few grads who went to Dominican, Carmelo DeFranco, the other Carmelo, those guys are at Deloitte, one's at PwC. Like, just take note of that and make connections, because you never know who's willing to help you. Like, do you guys know Eric Trego? I know you're soccer guys. You heard of that name? You know Eric Trego? He's an alum, but he played with Ballman. And I just met him and got coffee with him. He works at he's at US Bank. But that guy wants to help out so many people. If you guys want to get into banking, send the guy a LinkedIn message. I promise he'll reach back out to you. And he's the first soccer team at Dominican. He was telling me all these stories about how they used to kill UIC and all these other Division I schools. And so like people like that alum, they're out there who they want to help you guys. Alright, so don't be afraid to, you know, reach out and make that connection. Hey, you know, I'm a student here, I'm looking to get in this space. I know this is the space you're in. You know, what should I be looking at? And I take you out for coffee and one about you. Right? Okay. Someone that did that to me, I'd be so happy, like, yeah, let's go get coffee and see how I open the floodgates for you, right? So just keep that in mind.
Alright, so the last thing we're going to talk about, just different events that Natalie's been a huge help with. So any athletes in class? Cool, so a couple. Have you guys heard about the River Forest Rivalry Cup? Yeah? Okay, good. So this is for anyone who doesn't know, there's a rivalry cup going on between Dominican and Concordia. So they play against each other 11 times through the year. So the idea is the first school to reach 7 wins this cup. And so what we want to do, since Northwestern Mutual is sponsoring this rivalry, is really get as many students as possible to these games so we can have fun, so we can support the club, and just have a good time and support your local school. So 2 events we have coming up. The first one is men's soccer at Concordia. This is going to be an event next Wednesday, the 28th at 3 p.m. And Northwestern Mutual will be there. We'll have games and prizes and fun stuff going on. So we would love for you guys to come out. I know it's at Concordia, but Natalie's going to be there with the group.
And we should just go and support Manny and Fernando just because they're playing.
There we go. Support Manny and Fernando.
They got this. You guys got this.
Alright, we'd love to see you guys there. And then the next one is a really awesome event that Natalie put together along with the honors program. So with the honors program, you have to do like 5 community events. So this will count toward that if you are in the honors program, and then as well as that, you have to bring a friend with you. So we want as many juniors and seniors at this event as possible. We're going to be talking about a hot topic, guys, Finances 101, student loans, what do you do? So Richie's going to be speaking there, and also we'll talk about opportunities we have as well. But it's really just for you all to get educated on what you need to do as a college student in terms of budgeting, how to take care of your finances, and how to manage all of that. So that will be Tuesday, October 4th. If you're not going to be coming to these, feel free to hand your flyer out to somebody else. That's okay, because we just want to support the school and help you all develop and grow. So that's all we have for you.
Thank you guys.
And this is our Twitter account. If y'all have Twitter,
thank you guys.
follow us.
Let's get a round of applause for